Thank you for joining us in Finding God in Video Games. In today's Rewind, we're taking a look back at the Nintendo Labo, something that honestly only Nintendo could have ever pulled off. But let's kind of talk about how they got there. So after several years of their underperforming Wii U console, which brought a lot of disappointment, Nintendo has kind of hit it out of the park time and time again. They finally hit mobile platforms, releasing Pokemon Go and multiple other titles. Then they had the national Easter egg hunt that was the NES and NES Classic consoles that everybody wanted. And then, of course, you had the record-breaking sales of the Switch console. They've had Game of the Year contenders year after year like Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey. They continue to do great things with their Pokemon titles. It's clear that everything Nintendo is touching has been turning to gold. But Nintendo decided to do something that wasn't just thinking outside of the box. Nintendo decided to think about the box itself with the Nintendo Labo. This is an idea that could only work in the world Nintendo has created. Multiple accessories made completely out of cardboard were the name of the game with this product. And it's safe to say that after that, who knows what the world of gaming will do next. I mean, and seriously, all of the accessories are being made out of one of the least expensive and most readily available substances on the planet. And yet, most Switch owners at least wanted to give it a try. You could make a mock piano or a fishing pole. The sky was the limit for these very low-cost but high-concept cardboard-based accessories that were designed to enhance the already stout capabilities of the little hybrid handheld console that the Switch is, with another incredible experience that defied both imagination as well as the traditional confines of retail. Now, cardboard may be one of the most unlikely materials to create a new video game experience from. I can't imagine too many gaming companies were having serious conversations about its potential applications with their high-tech gaming systems. But that incredibly unqualified substance had its date with destiny, thanks to Nintendo's belief in its hidden capabilities. Many times we find ourselves in a similar situation, feeling like cardboard cutouts on a field of battle that we frankly don't feel like we belong in. With all of our dreams of accomplishing great things in our lives and for the Lord, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed by our personal lack of qualifications for the path that we dream of walking. In Judges chapter 4, we find one such cardboard soldier. Now, presumably, if you know the story, it's the story of Deborah, who was the first and only female judge of Israel, and her right-hand man, Barak. At least that's how it starts. Deborah had been tasked by the Lord to send an army into battle against the Canaanites, and she recruited Barak to lead the army into battle. But Deborah was quite clear from the very word go that Barak would not be the one laying the fatal blow to the enemy. Rather, it would be an unheralded non-combatant who would provide the deliverance for all the people of Israel. So fast forward to the battle, and we find that this enemy general, Sisera, was running from the field of battle to regroup. Both sides were locked into fierce combat, and Sisera's army was being completely overrun. And in his exhaustion, he stopped at the tent of a family that had actually been an ally to his people. And with a little rest, an opportunity to create a new plan of attack, he was probably thinking he could turn the tide of the battle. So as he approached the tent, he was greeted by the cardboard hero of our story, a young lady named Jael, who had no previous involvement in the war effort. She was not part of the planning meeting that Deborah and Barak had earlier. She was not featured in any of the promotional marketing, and yet she was about to step not only into her destiny, but become the hero of the whole campaign. Let's read it for a second. Judges 4:17 through 21 says, "However, Sisera had fled away on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, for there was peace between Jabin, king of Hazor, and the house of Heber the Kenite. And Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, 'Turn aside, my lord, turn aside to me. Do not fear.' And when he turned aside with her into the tent, she covered him with a blanket. And he said to her, 'Please, give me a little water to drink, for I'm thirsty.' So she opened a jug of milk, she gave him a drink, and covered him. And he said to her, 'Stand at the door of the tent. If any man comes and inquires of you, and asks if any man is here, you shall say no.' Then Jael, Heber's wife, took a tent peg, took a hammer in her hand, and went softly to him, and drove the peg into his temple, and it went down into the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary. So he died." Sure, you probably figured that part was coming. Jael was not a soldier. She was not a judge. She was not even allied with the Israeli army. But she was the wild card that the Lord had chosen to deliver the killing blow to the enemy. She was not even in pursuit of her true purpose when this story started. She was just at home. The Lord brought her destiny to her, and when it was time, she played the part of a charming hostess just long enough to take down an enemy that only she was in a position to defeat. It was the very unassuming nature of her position that made her the perfect weapon against her foe. Now, just keeping it personal, I have struggled, as I'm sure many of us have, with my own personal lack of qualifications to do the work that my spirit compels me to complete. I've often felt that I'm little more than a cardboard soldier in a war meant for those who can drive tanks and fire heavy artillery. But the Lord does not always use the qualified, the skillful, or the warriors to do his work. As a matter of fact, more often than not, he does not choose the qualified, but qualifies the chosen. Jael was not most people's first choice for delivering her people. I'll bet most didn't even know her name or who she was, but the Lord saw her as his perfect weapon, and she did the job that only she could do. Now, I would have never picked, if I would have been in a Nintendo boardroom, cardboard to be the next innovation to explore in gaming. But yet, it happened. And whatever our past, our present, or our outlook on the future is, we are more than the sum of our parts and our experiences. They merely brought us into the position for us to defeat enemies that others can't. Because of our path, we have been placed into the ideal position to deliver others from what oppresses them. We are the Jael for someone in our lives. So let's take joy in the cardboard that we may feel like we are. This is why our enemy underestimates us, and that is why the Lord will use us to defeat him.